more of what Mike Tomlin said. Huge news for the offense, I believe. He acknowledged that maybe it's time Jaylen Warren gets a little bit more going on here. Said that, his progress is natural, and this is a natural step in the development or whatever, classic Tomlin. But what he did say, pretty straightforward, was that he anticipates Jaylen Warren is going to get more of a workload, kind of be on the field more. I think we saw that. Jaylen Warren, outside of George Pickens, was the offense. He was the most impressive person. If you named 4 guys that didn't play defense, because I think the defense, like Alex Highsmith and you can name a lot of them. Outside of the defense, there were 4 MVPs in that game. That was Presley Harvin, Chris Boswell, George Pickens, and Jaylen Warren. And all 4 of them did everything they possibly can. Warren finished the night with 6 rushes for 20 yards, not great, but he also had 4 receptions for 66 yards. And a couple of those were like real ground and pound, catch a 1-yard pass, take it 15 yards, and fight your way through 4 things on 3rd and 11. Huge moments. Good move for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh, and also I have to acknowledge something. Yesterday, I made the comment, and I just got tweeted at that I made the comment that the Pittsburgh Steelers running game was like not terrible, and that it was kind of like I kind of blame Matt Canada for it. I watched the tape again last night. I was beyond off on that take. That was a god awful take. First off, the 3rd and 1 play, I don't know if it was supposed to be an option. It looks like an option. You hand that ball to Najee Harris, that's a first down. That was 100% on Kenny Pickett. The offensive line, atrocious. Isaac Seumalo, what the hell happened, man? You just don't play football anymore. And Mason Cole, unfortunately, ain't it. But the play calling, I don't know if it was necessarily the play calling. I think it was a lot of the offensive line is trash right now when it comes to the running game, which is surprising because they do well for the pass, for the most part. But I do have to acknowledge that because as they were coming in, I was just like, all right, let me sit down, let me rewatch this. And I was like, oh, yeah, no, that was this is
a lot of blame
after the game.
A lot of blame to go around. I don't think you were completely off base with saying that it's some part of the blame is on Matt Canada.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like I appreciate that. I agree, but usually me, usually my schedule is I come home, I watch it again before the next day, so I have a fresh outlook by the time we talk. There was zero chance I was doing that at 3 a.m. There was just wasn't happening. There was barely any chance I was doing it last night, but after I was called out a couple of times, I was like, all right, we'll do it. And I was wrong. So, I'll acknowledge that. Back to Jaylen Warren. Probably going to take more of a workload. Do you see this as a positive for the offense? And do you see this as a bit of a change of the guard between him and Najee, or just why would we throw the football when we have Jaylen Warren and Najee Harris?
I was watching that game, and it was early in the first quarter. It was maybe after Jaylen took his first catch, and I was like, nice play. It's good. Doesn't really change how I feel. And just the more it happened, and the more I watched like Najee get like stuff trying to go to the edge.
Yeah.
Just like there is like I still don't think Najee's a bad player. No. I'll stand by that. I don't think the offensive line did him any favors, but I think Jaylen is the type of player better suited to make up for some poor offensive line play as opposed to Najee. And that's just where you are right now. You're sitting behind an offensive line that still has some strides to make, still has some improvements to make. So you got to run with the guy who gives you the best option to kind of overcome that and give them some time to figure things out, and that's Jaylen. So I do see this as a little bit of a demotion for Najee. It's not completely taking him out of the rotation. I think we're a long, long ways from that. But Jaylen has earned this. That's like, first of all, what it is. Jaylen has been really good, and he has earned the right to take more carries. He's been really good. I think I did the math on it. I think he had a third of their total yards for that game, total offensive yards. So like between 20 rushing yards and 60 something.
Yeah, 86 rush. Yeah, that would be a third because they finished with like just under 300 yards.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like there's no way you can keep a guy like that. Just you can't tell me that's just a situational back. Like he's got to touch the ball more.
Yeah, I agree. I just think that for what the Steelers try to do with their running game, a lot of outside runs, a lot of shotgun handoffs, pitches that just don't make any sense. But for what they try to do, it is so the complete opposite of who Najee Harris is as a running back that it just doesn't make sense. And again, just like you said, like Najee's not a bad running back, and Najee will do what you want him to do, and he'll break those like 15-yard runs from time to time like he did the other day. But Najee isn't a guy that needs 20 touches a game. He's just not. You give him 10 touches a game, 12 touches a game, you feel really good, and then you give Jaylen Warren 20 touches a game, you feel even better. Like he's the guy that, especially in this offense, where Kenny Pickett is struggling, there is really only one super reliable wide receiver right now, and there would be two, but Allen Robinson just didn't, they just were like, who is that guy? Why would we throw him the football? Pat Fryermuth's the same way. Like, why they were removed from the game plan, I have no idea. But if that's how you're going to handle the situation, then you want Jaylen Warren out there because you want to win through your running game. You want to win through those explosive runs. And like you could mimic the Cleveland Browns. Like Nick Chubb is not a 3-yard rusher. He's just not. Like people want to compare him and Najee Harris and use that as a defense. They are two totally different running backs. Nick Chubb and Najee Harris, I agree, are both like running into brick walls, and it's got to suck. But Nick Chubb will get you 15 yards on that run. Najee Harris will get you 4. And Jaylen Warren's a guy who, I mean, even for how small he is and how elusive he is, like there were those catches where he literally had 4. By the time he was getting tackled, he had 4 yards to get the first down, and he still got the first down more than once. Like he is a guy who's going to fall forward, who's going to get those extra yards. It does. For where the Steelers are offensively and how much they need to improve and rely on the running backs, Jaylen Warren is hands down your answer. And then use Najee as a guy to make sure that Jaylen Warren is fresh, and I just think that works so much better. Do you see that? Do you see the change of guard kind of happening this week? Najee will not be removed as the starter, obviously. Yeah. Like he's still going to run out the tunnel. He's still going to be the guy on the depth chart. But do you see a change where, even if it's not this week, if it's coming, do you see the adaptation coming where it's at some point Jaylen's out touching Najee?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a real slow drip, but we're going to wake up in, I don't know, week 6 or 7 or something, and all of a sudden Jaylen's going to be the one getting, 15 carries and then another 10 targets out of the backfield. Well, Najee, and that's the other thing. Like Najee, I think we might have touched on this on Tuesday. But Najee came in.
No, today's Wednesday.
Today's Wednesday, buddy. Yeah, no, I know my days. But and Najee came in that fourth quarter, and he was able to rip off a couple chunk plays. Like that seems nice. Like to have a big power back who can be your closer, be your finisher. Well, Jaylen, you use Jaylen's speed and his explosiveness throughout the rest of the game. Like. There's a world where both these guys exist in the same offense and they are really productive. It's just maybe not exactly how we thought it would be at the beginning of the year or in training camp.
Yep, I agree. Like if you flip the script, and that's the thing is if you remove where they were drafted, Jaylen Warren is the starting running back in Pittsburgh. And Mike Tomlin says it all the time. How you got here doesn't matter unless your name's Najee Harris. Like that's just how they handle the situation. It makes so much more sense. Chris Johnson, Ladarius White. Did I get that name right?
I don't know.
You don't even know.
I don't know who you're talking about. I know who Chris Johnson is, but I don't know who Ladarius White is.
Nick should be shaking his head down there too.
Are you talking about that USC guy?
Yeah.
Lendell White?
Lendell White, thank you very much. The Titans duo. Come on. You're not. We know.
I watched that 30 for 30 on USC. I know who that is.
I wouldn't have known him from that. I would have known him from Titans
NFL
days.
Football.
But yeah, you were like younger than me, I guess. I was young when it happened. I look at it like those two. You know what I mean? Chris Johnson was the dude who's the fastest guy on the field. You get you 60-yard runs. White's the guy that's going to score all the touchdowns. He's going to get you 3rd and short. He's going to be utilized like that. Utilize Jaylen Warren and Najee Harris like that. Stop trying to go the other way around. Like stop trying to be a different football team than the rest of the NFL and just be the NFL. You know, the NFL this is what they do. They do everything a specific way. It works very well. The Steelers are like, well, those 6 times we won Super Bowls, we did it the other way. You're like, nobody cares, okay? The NFL is changing. Change with it. You will win more Super Bowls. This is why you have not won a playoff game in 7 years, 6 years, something crazy like that. It's gotta change. I agree with you. I expect it to be a slow drip, but I expect that drip to change.